Hey guys, and welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I make this amazing vegan seitan that has 35 grams of protein, 6 grams of carbs, and only 2 of fat. This is perfect for wraps, sandwiches, meal prep. I love this. It's one of my main sources of protein, and it tastes and looks amazing. Let's get started. So this is a variation of my lupini bean seitan nugget recipe. If you want to try the OG recipe, just click up here. And for this recipe, all you're going to need is 5 simple ingredients. So in a bowl, we're going to add all the dry ingredients first. We're going to start by adding the vital wheat gluten. Then we're going to add the premium pea protein. Make sure it is unflavored. Then we're going to add our nutritional yeast. So for my seasonings, I have all-purpose seasoning and I have vegan chickenless seasoning that I got at Trader Joe's. For the purpose of this recipe, I want to keep it super simple and easy and accessible for everybody. So I'm going to be using the all-purpose seasoning, but just as an example, you can use whatever seasoning you like. There's even the Better Than Bouillon vegan not chicken base, and you can totally use this one as well if you just add it to the water part. Hey guys, I'm editing my video and I realized that I wasn't super specific on the seasoning blend explanation. So whatever all-purpose seasoning you're using or whatever seasoning blend you are using, make sure it contains salt. Don't use salt-free seasoning blends, all right? Because I promise you that will just give you a tasteless seitan. And we don't want that. We want a good tasting seitan, all right? So make sure whatever seasoning blend you pick, it contains salt, all right? Don't say I didn't warn you. All right, back to the video. So before we move on to our wet ingredients, I want to give you guys a couple of tips. So if you're doing this by hand and mixing it all by hand, make sure to be using a silicone spatula. This will prevent any sticking. Seitan is super sticky, so I'm warning you guys, do not use a metal one or a wooden one like this one. So throw that to the side. So for our wet ingredients, all you're going to need is some water and coconut aminos. This is so good and you can find it at any grocery store. So if you're using a standing mixer like I am, I'm using the dough hook. So all you're gonna do is put this at the lowest setting so the flour doesn't go everywhere, and we're gonna slowly add the liquid ingredients. So once your dough ball has formed, make sure to check it, and if it's too dry, start adding a little bit of water at a time, just a tad bit. You don't want to take it completely the opposite direction and then make your dough too wet. You're kind of looking for a bread dough consistency, so it can't be super dry, all right? So once you turn it on and it's on the lowest setting and it starts forming, then you can amp it up and then just keep an eye on it. I usually let it like mixing for about 3 to 4 minutes. And if you're doing this by hand, just get your hands dirty, grab some non-stick cooking spray, put it in your hands and just start massaging the dough, and it's just gonna be a workout. So if you're doing it by hand, make sure to do it for 4 to 5 minutes to make sure the gluten is activated. And this is what you want. You want a huge gluten dough ball. Like, it's so nice, it smells amazing, so good. But this is the consistency that you want. Like you can see, everything is really nice and combined. There's no dry spots, so we're ready to form our logs because we're making logs this time. So make sure that you preheat your oven to 350 degrees. We have here a little pan and it's lined with parchment paper. I also am going to spray it lightly. And you want to spray your hands so you don't get gluten stuck to you, because this is very tough. And what we're gonna do is form like 3 to 4 logs. Let's see how many I can get. So gluten acts very differently depending on how you mix it. So I find that sometimes it's like really nice and soft when I manipulate it. Other times it could be a little bit bumpy, but you'll get the same result, so don't worry about it. So I'm just doing a log that I can fit through the feeder of my food processor because we're going to be making little like deli slices. And don't worry about getting them the same exact size. We're going to measure it at the end, and I'm gonna share with you how I log it into my FitnessPal, how I track it, and all of that. So right now it doesn't really matter, but yeah, just making sure that you can feed them through the food processor, or fit them through the food processor. Once you have your logs all ready to go, and you have a great hand workout, you're gonna lightly spray them just to have some moisture in there, and we're gonna cover it and then place something that holds the parchment paper down. We're gonna pop that in the oven and leave it there for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, we're gonna uncover and flip them and bake for an additional 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm gonna show you guys how I track all of this, especially when I'm doing some meal prepping, and I made 10 servings of this. So all I do is I go on the recipe tab on my FitnessPal, and then I add the title of my recipe, and you can use this method for any recipe that you want. And I've gone through this process with you guys on other videos. So all I do is I put Nattie's P Seitan, Nattie's my nickname, and then I put the serving amount that I want. I'm making 10, so I just put 10 here. And then I go into add ingredients. So once I add all of the ingredients that this recipe has, so you can see here the nutritional yeast, I'll put it in grams so everything is as accurate as possible. I put the aminos, the all-purpose seasoning, the pea protein, and the vital wheat gluten. Once I added all my ingredients and the amount, then I'll go to next. And then you could see the breakdown there. You can even see the nutrition facts. So after I do all of that, then I can adjust. So say for example, if I don't want 10 servings and I want 8, I can easily change it, and the macros are already fixed for me. So that's one really cool way of doing it. But since I want 10 and I want this to be very macro friendly for everybody, so that way, you know, since the recipe doesn't have any carbs, you can use the carbs for rice and potatoes and other fun things. So it's very, very macro friendly. So we're gonna hit save, and then you can add to your diary. So you can see here the tab that says add to diary or edit recipe if you're customizing the recipe and maybe adding a few add-ons that I didn't add. So for example, you can add some fresh herbs and things like that. So have fun with it, and I hope this was helpful. So I have my 2 containers full. There's a total of 10 servings in here. So we're gonna tare the exact container. I'm gonna zero the scale. And this is how I will know the exact measurement per serving. So now I'll put this, and it says 379. And we'll put this one, and this one will sum it up with that 379 plus 452. That is a total of 831, and we're gonna divide that by 10 servings, which means each serving is 83 grams. So you can do that every single time that you make these. Hey, me again. I don't know why I do this, but anyway, the reason why I measure these every single time I make them is because depending on the water amount that I use, depending on how my seitan reacts in the baking process, the weights will change. As long as you're splitting it into 10 equal portions, that's all that really matters, or whatever portions that you want and are tracking on my FitnessPal. So hope that makes sense. If you guys have any questions, you can leave them down below and I'll be answering them. back to the video again. This looks amazing. And like I said, guys, 10 servings. This is one whole serving. This is perfect for wraps, sandwiches, meal prep. I love this. It's one of my main sources of protein, and it tastes and looks amazing. So good. If you guys have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comment section down below. And as always, I put everything in the description box, so make sure to give that a check. If you enjoyed this video and plan on making this recipe, give it a big like. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new here, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.